Hi, everyone. Welcome to Kiki and Kibitz. It's Mary, and I'm here with this week's edition of 90 Days and 900 Seconds. Season 10, Tell All, Part 2, Finale. We have finally reached the light at the end of the tunnel, guys. It is the finale, finale, finale. That's it. Okay, this is the last time I have to talk about season 10 and the flipping idiots that we had to deal with. Okay, so let's set 900 seconds on the timer. If I was going to give this episode a grade, I would give it, let's see, a C minus at this point. Okay, and a C minus simply for Clayton's one-liners and Sam and Citra. Okay, let's set 900 seconds on the timer and let's get right down to it. So we pick up where we left off last week. Jasmine is crying hysterically in Nikki's arms, and Daisy the stripper is joining us via Zoom to spill the beans all about Gino and what he did at the bachelor party. But before Jasmine could hear a word out of Daisy's mouth, she storms off and she's crying hysterically. Okay, so for argument's sake, we're going to say this is Jasmine. Okay, and she is crying hysterically in Nikki's arms, and Nikki is just like, oh, 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 oh. And Jasmine's like, I can't do this anymore, Nikki. That's it. I'm done. I'm done, Nikki. He doesn't love me. And Nikki's just, he doesn't want to make love to me, Nikki. Nikki, he doesn't want me. He was hugging her and she was naked. She was half naked, Nikki. Yeah. And meanwhile, everyone is sitting on stage and they can hear her screaming like a banshee backstage. And Rob is like, listen, it's not that serious for all this, okay? And everyone's just sitting there kind of looking at each other, and you just hear her screaming, he never hugs me. Cue the shaky hand for her drink. Nikki, 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 oh, Nikki, oh, Nikki. Oh, Nikki, he doesn't love me, Nikki. He doesn't love me. And meanwhile, and Nikki is consoling her friend. You're too beautiful to cry, Jasmine. You're too beautiful to cry. You're going to go out there and show them what you're made of. So Jasmine gathers herself. Okay. I mean, for someone who was sobbing, I don't know where I put my tissue, but for someone who was sobbing, she's dabbing at her eyes, with her tissue. Oh, here, I found my tissue. Her makeup didn't smear. I did not see one tear from her eyes, but yeah, pretty good acting. Pretty good acting, Jasmine. Just saying. So Jasmine goes back on the stage and she's like, I'm so sorry, Shaun, that I stormed off. I have so much respect for you, but I couldn't take it. I couldn't take it, but now I'm back. So Daisy, let me ask you a few questions. No, Gino, this is my time with Daisy. You had your time. So Daisy, let me ask you a question. A couple of days after I arrived in the United States, I found a lip gloss in my husband's car. A lip gloss, Daisy. And it was fresh. I want to know, was that your lip gloss? And Daisy, for her part, she's like, listen, no, that wasn't my lip gloss. My interaction with Gino never left the strip club, you raving lunatic. I get where you're coming from. As a woman, seeing all this must have upset you, you raving lunatic. But just to let you know, Gino was very awkward. He was so well behaved, you raving lunatic. For a man at a strip club celebrating his bachelor party, and I could tell that Gino really cares about you, you raving lunatic. So calm the fuck down. Just saying. And she's like, well, Daisy, that is all good and good to hear. But the one thing about Gino that I know about my gringo bonito is that he is the most flirtatious when he's being awkward. And Gino just sits there repeating his line over and over. I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't do anything wrong. It was my bachelor party. I have a right to enjoy my bachelor party. I didn't do anything wrong. Yes, Gino, stick to your lines and you'll be okay. Okay? So now Jasmine tells Gino, you crossed the line. It's lunch break now, okay? Because everyone's like, all this drama with Jasmine screaming. I'm hungry. We need to grab some lunch, okay? So it's lunch break now, and Jasmine and Gino are talking, outside of the room where everyone is, and Jasmine's like, Gino, you really crossed the line with this. I don't know how I'm ever going to be able to forgive you. And Gino sticks to his line. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. It was my bachelor party. I did nothing wrong. You're overreacting. I did nothing wrong. And Jasmine says the big thing with her is that Gino never wants to accept accountability for how she feels. Okay, so now we're on the lunch break. And Rob, do you feel better about your relationship? He's like, I don't know how Gino, my dog, does it. I mean, come on. And then Devin, yeah, remember her? She's still there. Okay. Devin asks Rob, does Sophie ever yell at you like that? And Rob is like, no comment, dog. So Sam says, I can't imagine walking on eggshells every day, hoping to avoid an argument. And then Gino comes in and they're like, Gino, are you okay? And he's like, yeah, I'm okay. But this is just a cycle and it goes on all the time, but I'm okay. Ashley's advice, of course, bang it out, just bang it out. Lots of sex. That'll solve everything. Okay. Thanks for your advice, Ashley. Thanks, but no thanks. So now Jasmine comes into the room, okay, and she has a bomb for everybody. But I need to light up for a second before I get into this. And I just want to state it is March 11th, and Mr. Softy, the ice cream truck, is coming down my block. Now, that is the first sign of spring in New York City when Mr. Softy starts doing its rounds. That's all I have to say. So, anyway, Jasmine has a bomb. She comes into the room and she's like, I wasn't going to get into this drama that is currently happening in my home, but I am sick on how everyone thinks that I am the crazy one. Clayton, hold my purse. I'm sorry, my hand is shaking, Clayton. Hold my purse. And Clayton's like, okay. And then she's holding an envelope in her hands. And she's like, this is the current situation that I'm dealing with at my home. I got this letter. This letter. You guys see that? Well, maybe not. This letter not working the way I want it supposed to. Come on, cooperate with me. This letter, and it says, Jasmine, Gino, and I had so much fun that night at the bachelor party. That lip gloss, you can keep it, but it won't look as good on you as it does on me. And Nikki's like, bitch. Now remember, this is a typed letter. A typed letter that was left in a mysterious envelope on Jasmine's porch. Okay? And then she says, and, oh, wait, I didn't finish. You can keep it, but it won't look as good as it does on me. Here are my panties that he took off that night. The rest you can keep for your imagination. And then Jasmine drops the envelope on the floor. And of course, Nikki runs over and Nikki's like, ooh, what's on that? Yeast? Oh my goodness, what the fuck is that? And then Nikki starts to try to push it with her feet into the envelope. And everyone is just like, the look on Citra's face was priceless. She was sitting there looking around like, what the fuck is happening? Rob is like, set that shit on fire where it lays. Like, oh my God, this shit is gross. There's a pair of Jasmine's panties in an envelope. Because we all know Jasmine set that shit up. Jasmine typed up the letter. She put a pair of her panties in the envelope. And yeah, so Rob is like, set that shit on fire right where it lays. And Rob is like, all this is a little suspect to me. Annalie gets up and hugs her, which I found so sweet on Annalie's part. And of course, Nikki's back, to consoling her friend. Okay, now Gino knows it's in his best interest to let her cool off. So now it's on to Nikki and Justin. Okay, so now Shaun asks her opening question. Are you guys still broken up? And Nikki's like, I'll let Igor answer that. So Igor's like, I think we need some more time to figure things out. And Nikki's like, what the hell? So he explains that the fights with Nikki were taking a toll on him. And he didn't know what to do, guys. Okay. They broke up at least 10 times a day. And he really didn't know what to do. So when he broke up with her, and when he didn't have to deal with every day thinking, how am I going to fix this relationship? How am I going to make Nikki happy? What am I going to do? He decided, I'm going to cut my losses. And his words, not mine, he felt free. Okay. So now Nikki's watching all of this and she's just like, Igor, this is not true. And Igor turns around and says, tomorrow I will stop, but today I will speak. And Ashley's like, whoa, tomorrow I will stop, today I will speak. And this is where counselor, co-host Ashley starts to speak up. Okay, because didn't you know that she was Shaun's co-host? I didn't know that either until this episode. Okay, so Ashley says, why would you ever tell a trans woman that you say you love you are not trans attracted? Okay. And she says that is the biggest insult. And you talk about respect. You talk about, you want Nikki to pay you respect, but then you say this kind of shit to her. Igor's response, Ashley, hold the candle, Ashley. Hold the candle. I fucking hit the floor. I was fucking dying. Okay. He's like, I tell the truth. When I feel man vibes, I tell. That's it. I feel man vibes from Nikki when she fights with me. Her man side comes out. I feel man vibes. I tell. That's it. So now it's, Nikki discloses that she flew out to Moldova 2 months ago to celebrate his birthday. They had sex, so her coochie's happy, his wee wee's happy, everybody's happy. Okay, so now he put the ring back on her finger, and she thought everything was hunky dory, but now she doesn't even know where their relationship stands. Okay, so the reason why they had this big fight the night before the tell-all was apparently Igor runs into his exes at the park. And like he explains, Moldova's not that big. We only have a couple of parks. And I was walking in the park and I saw my ex and we have a conversation. Now, Nikki is asking him, do you meet up with your exes? And he says no. And I believe in his mind, he thought he was telling Nikki, the truth. No, I don't beat up on my exes. I run into them, but I don't purposely call them and set up meetings. So he accused her of trying to dig out secrets. They got into a big fight, and that's when he told her that he wasn't trans attracted. Okay, chill out with your man vibes. I'm not trans attractive. And it's like, what the fuck? Okay, now you're just figuring this out. But, and I'm going to get into this in a bit, I'm disappointed that Shaun and no one else called out Nikki on how she basically lied and deceived Igor all those years ago when they first met about her being a trans. She actually brought him over here. And the only reason why the fact that she is a trans woman came out of her mouth is because they were having a heated argument. Okay. Otherwise, by her own admission, she probably would have never told him. And I'm like, what in the living fuck is that all about? And nobody confronted her about that. And that bothers the fuck out of me. I'm not saying Igor's right in any way, okay? Because the shit coming out of his mouth, I was dying. I was like, are you kidding me, Igor? Especially when he asked Nikki, what part do you love the most, the top or the bottom? And this is where Clayton and his one-liners come in. He turns around and says, well, you're not having sex with her, so I don't think it's the bottom. That was pretty funny. But basically, Nikki and Igor, they just kept going back and forth until Shaun was like, you know something? We're going to pivot and we're going to move on, and then we'll get back to you guys. Okay? So, okay. We move on to Sam and Citra. Okay. So now, congrats on the pregnancy. They weren't trying to get pregnant, but Sam is a horny fucker. Okay. So Sam got her pregnant basically like first try, practically. Okay. So Citra and Sam, they seem like they're like the perfect couple on the outside. Okay. But Sam is a horny dog. Okay. First, we talk about his diversion program. He signed the paperwork. As long as he stays out of trouble for a year, daily drug test if necessary. He's going to do what he has to do for his wife, his child. He says converting to Islam actually saved him. It gave him a purpose. I find that fantastic. Okay, now moving on to Sam being a horny dog. When him and Citra were in the beginning of their relationship, they were in a serious relationship, but they hadn't met in person yet. Sam apparently had a one-night stand with a chick who got into his Uber. Okay. He was driving Uber to make extra money. He said it was a ride share, but I'm pretty sure it's Uber. Okay. He was driving to make extra money on the side, and this hot looking chick gets into his car. And they start talking. They exchange numbers. And then the next night, he goes to a party with her and decides to bang it out, like Ashley says. Okay. So it was a one night stand. It was purely physical for him. He was backed up. He needed to do something because he's a horny dog. And yeah, that happened. So he says that he told Citra all about it in the beginning of their relationship. And Citra, I don't know if she has pregnancy brain, selective memory, or Sam didn't tell her all about it, but she was under the impression that Sam was about to bang it out with this random chick, but something in her room freaked him out and he ran out without doing anything. And he's like, no, I told you I had sex with her. So basically, on stage, that was the first time it kind of sunk in to her that Sam did have sex with this random chick, but she says she fully trusts him. They worked out all those trust issues and she fully trusts him. And like Sam says, I don't have time to fuck around anyway. So I'm happy for them. And I wish them all the best, honestly. Now it's break time again. And Nikki asks Citra, are you okay? And Citra's like, yeah, I'm fine. And Sophie's like, the one thing I like about Sam is that he's very accountable. Okay. He takes accountability for his actions. He doesn't try to sugarcoat it. And, that's the good thing about Sam. And then Jasmine, tries to talk to Gino about the footage and how much the footage really hurt her. And once again, Gino is sticking to his line. Oh my goodness, if you feed Gino a line, he will stick to it. I didn't do anything wrong. It was my bachelor party. You're overreacting. I didn't do anything wrong. Okay, so now it's Clayton and Anali's turn. They live in Tulsa, Oklahoma now. Mom lives near, but not with them. So don't worry, she's not in the closet. Okay. Manuel asks Clayton, why couldn't you just put the guinea pigs in the closet? Like, why your mom in the closet over the guinea pigs? And Clayton's like, well, basically, the guinea pigs need ventilation because they're peers and poopers. And so it wasn't like they could be in the closet because they wouldn't get proper ventilation in the closet. And Nikki's like, what about your mother? Doesn't your mother need air and ventilation? And he was like, yeah, well, we never closed the door. The door could close, but the door was never closed. So it wasn't like my mother was like shut in there with no air and no ventilation. But at this point, it doesn't matter because they no longer live in the same apartment and she has her own place. So now, Shaun asks Clayton and Anali if their sex life has improved, okay? Because remember, that was a big thing. And yes, they've done it twice this week so far. Anali says, listen, I have a big house now. I don't have to worry about neighbors hearing me, anybody hearing me, so I could bang it out whenever I want. So, Sophie and Rob get it on a few times a week when things are good between them. Sam, the horny dog, it's every day or every other day. Okay. Devin and Nick act like a bunch of high school kids. They start giggling. They're like, no, you tell them. No, you tell them. No, you tell them. No, you tell them. Well, it's at least more than 3 times. Okay. They want to give a specific number and just skip over Jasmine and Gino, please. Just skip over them, please. I mean, Jasmine says once a year she's lucky. Please, bitch. Okay. Just skip over them. So Annalise said it was really hard to keep her relationship with Clayton a secret from her father, but she did it out of love because she knows that if she was upfront with her father, he would not let her go to the United States. And everyone's kind of looking at her and giving her the side eye. And Jasmine speaks up and says, now, as a Latin American, I could testify that Latin American parents are scary no matter what age you are. Manuel is right, and Manuel's like, mm-hmm. So, I could see how Annalie, a grown-ass woman, was afraid to tell her father about Clayton, okay? Because, yes, Latin American parents are scary no matter what age you are. So, now, they invited her father to come to the tell-all, to speak at the tell-all, and he declined. But he gave them a statement, and he says, I love my daughter very much. I wish she would come home. She doesn't need anything there. And that was his statement. So Annalise, she's all teary and emotional. And now here comes Brandy. Oh boy. Now when Brandy comes out, Annalise like all smiles. She gives her a little heart. But I'm sorry, guys. I don't think Brandy's going to be getting hearts from Annalie or Clayton anytime soon. Okay. So Brandy has reservations and she is going to continue to have reservations, and you can't change her mind. She says the relationship just feels fraudulent to her. At first, she thought Clayton was getting catfished. But when she realized that she's actually a real person, she just feels everything is like so fraudulent. She wouldn't post on her social media. She didn't tell her dad. So it just felt to Brandy that maybe she had a boyfriend in Peru that she was trying to hide or something. Now I get, where Brandy's coming from in the beginning of the relationship. But like Annalie said, I already told my father, I post on social media. So what do you have against me now? Like, haven't I proved to you that I love your brother? Like, the original plan was I wanted him to come and live in Peru with me, but because of his job, we decided that I have to come to the United States. I'm here for love. Okay. I left my family. I left my country. I left everything behind. Okay. For him. And Brandy's still like, no, I think their relationship is fraudulent. Hmm. Annalie's like, she seems crazy. So now Brandy says, I personally don't see any affection between them two. Look at the way everybody's sitting. And look at the way you guys sitting. So Clayton and Annalie immediately get closer to each other. And Clayton's like, just because it's not up to your standards doesn't mean that it's not right. Okay? Annalie and I love each other. And Annalie's like, I'm not into the public displays of affection. Unlike Nikki and Jasmine being all over him and, in person, in public. I'm not that kind of person. So just because I'm not all over my man in public doesn't mean that our relationship is fraudulent. And Brandy's just sitting there with a smirk on her face. And she's like, nope, I don't believe in one bit. So then they start talking about the bachelor party and the stripper. The bachelorette party and the stripper involved with it. Now, this is the first time Clayton has seen the footage. Okay. And he says it's a little bit different than what Annalie told me. She said she was traumatized. She didn't want it, but it looks like she was enjoying it. So Brandy's sitting here with a big smirk on her face. She's loving this shit. And Clayton's like, I really believe that she got the stripper to like meddle in our relationship. And Nikki's like, are you saying that your sister wants to like meddle and ruin your relationship? And Brandy's like, hee hee, hee hee, hee hee. The one thing that I would have liked Shaun to get into, the deep rooted issues between Clayton and Brandy. Okay? Because Clayton seems like he is annoyed the fuck out of by his sister. And Brandy seems like her sole purpose is to annoy and poke Clayton. And I would like to know where these deep rooted issues come from. Shaun does not ask the right questions. Okay? Just saying. So now we're going on to Devin and Nick. Yes, they're still there. Nick didn't say a word throughout the whole thing, practically. And Devin, it's like, okay, you guys are still here. Yes, they're still there. And Nick already got his green card. It took him exactly 6 months. Nick was not fucking playing. Okay. The day after the wedding, he applied for his green card and he got it within 6 months because he wants to work. And he got a job as a project manager in Atlanta, Georgia, okay, because Sarcy doesn't have any work for him. And he's going to get all settled, okay? Him and Devin have been apart for about 2 weeks now. But like Devin said, hey, I'm happy to have this a long time, okay? I've been with him 24/7, 7 days a week. Sometimes it's nice to be alone. And Nick agrees. These two are perfect for each other, okay? So now Devin is just like, I'm basically just waiting for him to get settled in Atlanta, and then I'm going to join him. Okay. Nick, he wants to have babies. Devin's like, I told him, we're going to, consider this subject once you start making bank. Once you start making bank, then I'll consider having babies. And I think that's a pretty good deal. So now we bring in the parents and we approach the only drama that they had this season. The fact that Nick calls Devin piggy. Okay. Now, Devin has dropped a lot of weight since we last saw her on TV. But that was months ago when they filmed that, okay? And I loved her red bottom shoes, by the way. I'm gonna throw that in. Well, anyway, her mother says that she has been this size before, okay? Pre-Nick, she has been this skinny. And she said, I was this skinny when I lived in Australia, and then I came home, started eating American food, and got fat again. Now, this is the size I want to be. And everyone is asking her, do you think Nick calling you piggy, like unconsciously, caused you to want to lose weight? And she admits that she wishes that Nick would have left the piggy nickname in private, that he would have never said it on camera because people have been so offended. And Devin personally is not offended. She could see why others are, but she's not offended. Okay. And basically, her parents, say that they're worried, okay, about Nick chipping away at Devin's self-esteem. And Nick ends it with an apology. He apologizes to Devin's parents. He apologizes to everybody, his co-star, his co-cast members on stage. He apologizes to Shaun. He apologizes to America. And then Devin's father's like, the person that you need to apologize to is the one sitting next to you. So he turns to her and he's like, Devin, I'm so sorry for calling you Piggy for the past 4 years. I just wanted to show you how cute I think you are. But I'm sorry to call you Piggy. Yeah, okay. Now circling back to Nikki and Igor, okay? Nikki's mom, Myrna's there. Now, Myrna, she wants the answers. She wants the answers from Igor, and she's not going to leave the stage until she gets the answers. And basically, Igor is sticking to his story that, Nikki has too much man energy. Okay? And Jasmine, if you don't watch out, hanging out with Nikki too much, you are absorbing her vibes. Igor's words, not mine. Then when Ashley chimes in, he's like, oh, I see what's going on here. The 90-Day Fiancé Club. This is cool. Everybody hang out with each other and their vibes rub off on each other. I see what's going on here. Okay, cool. So, Shaun asks Nikki, what would it take you to pull the K1 visa? Because she hasn't pulled the fucking K1 visa yet. Well, Justin said, I'm not going to show up to the interview, even if they do grant me an appointment. So you might as well pull it, Nikki. So anyway, Nikki has another mini meltdown on the stage, takes off her ring, gives it to her mother before her mother leaves. And it's like, Mom, this is all a fucking lie. And now, okay, that's all, folks. Nikki and Jasmine say, maybe we're trying with the wrong gender. Maybe we're meant to be with each other. The two most emotionally unstable train wrecks. Sure. Igor says in America, the women don't respect their men. And shut the fuck up, Igor. With all due respect. Bye, Igor, bye. And she says maybe she'll write a song about the situation. She's going to call her attorney, have him pull the visa, and then she's going to write some music, and maybe she'll write a song. And Nikki Exotica will be coming to a venue near you. Okay? Then, today was rough for Sophie and Rob, but he hopes that everyone sees that he is willing to do whatever it takes to make her comfortable. Manuel says he will be a better communicator, even if it means that he has to bang it out 3 to 4 times a day. He will be a better communicator. Okay. Sam and Citra are in it to the end and beyond. Okay. And Clayton says that Brandy was basically blowing shit out of her ass. And Anali said, you want to see us show some affection? I will show you affection. I'm like, wow, you're really shoving your tongue down his throat, huh, Annalie? And I just want to ask before I close out my final recap of season 10, 90 Day Fiance, what the fuck was Jasmine wearing when she was leaving the tell all? What was that wrapped around her shoulders? What bird did they kill? Asking for a friend and myself. As usual, Jasmine and Gino, they didn't leave happy, particularly Jasmine. And we'll see what happens on Happily Ever After, which starts next week. And you guys, please stay tuned because starting next week for Happily Ever After, my recaps are going to change. And I'm going to do our own version with Kelly and Cynthia. And we're going to recap, talk crap, and basically have fun with Happily Ever After. So I'll be advertising on the community board what night we'll be going live. We're going to do this as a weekly thing. And just wanted to let you guys know about something little exciting that I have coming up. So we made it to the end of the tunnel. Season 10 is over. Now, Happily Ever After starts next week. And unfortunately, we have people like Ed, Angela, etc. And we'll just see what happens. Thank you so much for watching me. Please subscribe if you don't already. Hit the like button. Share my video with a friend or 10. And please consider joining my membership. Thank you so much and see you next week. Bye, everyone.